with the devil, we resist and he shall flee. But we are to actively draw near to Elohim. So we resist, the devil flees. Now, by the way, if you notice there are other verses that says things like flee what? Fornication, or flee a sin, something you shouldn't do. It didn't say flee the devil. Flee from or resist doing the thing you shouldn't do, and he won't have anything to work with, so he'll leave you alone. He bothers you because you give him so much to work with. Now, he says, but with Elohim, you need to draw near, right? You need to draw near to him, all right? Draw near to Elohim, and he shall draw near to you. That process should be understood as straightforward. You want him to draw near to you? Well, draw near to him. You walk in his direction, and he'll come to you. But you have to move in his direction first. He says, let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to dejection. And then he says, humble yourself. Yeah, get that cry out and yell and scream and kick and go, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. All you guys who are still not wearing your seat, there's a battle going on in your head. All you people out there that aren't tithing, there's a battle going on in your heart and your head. All you people that are not guarding your Shabbat, not looking at labels to see what you eat, there's a battle going on. You don't really want to do this. You're sort of playing with it still. This is not a social activity. You don't do this just for community, social interests. This is about a relationship with the creator of the universe. If you don't believe that, then you're in the wrong place. Why are you here? So which people does he want to spend forever with? Well, he really wants to spend forever with everybody, but he knows it's not going to happen. Why? Because he has other subjective criteria, subjective to him. We don't get to argue with his reasons. They're just his reasons. That makes it subjective. So he has decided he wants to spend forever with obedient, covenanted people. Okay? And he tells us what that looks like in the Word. So why are we here? We're here to demonstrate, this fits into what James is saying here, to demonstrate whether or not we're going to draw near to him, to demonstrate whether or not we can humble ourselves, because he wants to have us all be in the kingdom. Let me rephrase that. He wants all the ones that will be in the kingdom to have shown and demonstrated their loyalty, trustworthiness, to be submitted to and committed to the covenant. When there's a breach, and there's two people involved, one of you breached. Well, that means one of you has to own what you did. Maybe both of you breached, and you both have to own what you did. In the case with Yahweh, he never breaches. So it's always going to be us. So you got to own that. He says, lament, mourn, weep, get over it. He didn't say, just toughen up and don't do. You can and are allowed to cry over the fact that you can't have whatever it is you can't have anymore. Or you can't do what you don't get to do anymore. And get it out of your system. He's like, good, fine. Get a good scream, yell, kick, whatever, good. Are you done? Fine. Humble yourself, own it, and move on. Let's go forward now. And he says, and then he will be able to lift you up. And then he has this warning in the beginning of chapter 3. Part of the problem is some of you are teaching shouldn't be teaching. He said, not many of you should become teachers. Why? He said, because there's a higher judgment. There's a greater judgment on the teacher. Why? Because people are doing what they said. So what they said is wrong and people are doing it. Whose fault is it? Well, at least part of it's the teacher's fault. And there has to be an extra judgment on that. It's bad enough you're doing it, but now you're teaching other people to do it. Well, but I didn't know. Well, that's part of why James is saying not everybody should be a teacher. Not only that, he said not many of you. It shouldn't be a large number of people teaching. Some of you all think, oh, we're all supposed to be teachers. You know, it's so funny. It's the same people that say we don't need a teacher. Same people say we don't need a teacher, we have the Ruach, also believe that everybody should be teaching. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been wrong? Really? You've been wrong? I want to broaden that out a little bit. Some of you know this game, I played it before. When you were wrong in the past, was it ever something that, oh my goodness, you stood and you fought and you knew that you knew that you knew, and you still were wrong? Right? Everybody. So what's to say that's not going to happen again? Can we all agree that's going to happen again? Did it happen at least more than once in your life? Okay? So if it already happened more than once in your life, it can happen again. So you'd have to be, you should be filled with a certain level of concern and appropriate fear to step into a teaching role. Because you were wrong and didn't know it. You're still wrong about some things and don't know it. So your tongue, that little bit it might say, may lead someone down a path into all kinds of fire, all kinds of problems, because they took what you said and ran with it. By the way, that's only half the problem. The other half of the problem is the teacher may have been fine and you still took it wrong and ran with it. I've had people tell me so many incredible things that they said I said that I didn't say. Like in a teaching. I'd have to tell them, please tell me the timestamp on that teaching. Let's go listen to it. And we go back there and I didn't say it. They didn't understand what I said. They misinterpreted what I said. So as a teacher, you're already running a really rough race to begin with. It's challenging anyway. Is it really the tongue that's just defiling everything, or is it the thought and the emotion that gets expressed by the tongue? We've talked about this many times. A thought that you meditate on, that you hold on to, you ponder, and eventually an emotion attaches itself to that thought. I want that, or I don't want that. I like that, I don't like that. That eventually, when held on to, right, the thought gets held on to, an emotion will attach to it. The emotion gets attached to it, and you hold on to that, and action will manifest. Your mouth is going to run. You're going to wag your tongue. You're going to stir up some problems. Nowadays, we think, oh, I don't say anything. Oh, really? With your phone in your hand texting? I don't say anything. Oh, you set fires like crazy with your thumbs. I'm looking for a congregation that believes this, 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 and this. Okay, now you're already looking for somebody that matches up with you. You should be looking for an Ephesians 4:11 teacher and being ready to learn from them, realizing that you're probably going to have to adjust some things. But some of you are looking for a teacher that agrees with you. That's self-seeking. I know this because people come up to me and they'll say things like, well, I want to ask you a few questions to see where you stand on some things, and I want to figure out if I want to come to your congregation. Where I stand on things has nothing to do with whether you should be here or not. You got to figure out if I'm actually anointed to speak the word. Because you might be wrong about some of those things you want to match up. So what if I match up or don't match up? You got to figure out if I'm actually anointed or not. And then you need to sit down and listen. He says, and the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. Sown in peace. When it says sown in peace, is he talking just about, because I know where you're going to go with this. Well, yeah, Rabbi, see, he wants you to say it nicer. Who do you think he's talking about the peace being between? How about you and him? The fruit of righteousness is sown in peace with him by those who make peace on his behalf with him. So you're doing his peace, his shalom. Because you want to think of it like, see, he says that the righteous fruit is sown in peace. That means quiet and soft. No, he's not talking about you and the next person. He's talking about people with him. Then it flows the other way.